Hello, I'm Gloria, founder of NatureGlo's 𝐸𝐚. Welcome to this episode about the Saguaro cactus. Da, 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 da. Here we have 3 specimens behind me. Let me see if I can get a good angle there. So there they are. And here we have a view without me in the picture. So let's just get a closer view. So the saguaro cactus is probably the largest living thing out here. They're just magnificent. So here we are. We have the 3 cacti. So by the way, you can say cacti or cactuses. Either is fine. I'm traversing this mess of branches on the ground. And it is almost 10 o'clock in the morning, so the sun's getting up there. But just look at these beauties. This one's segmented, which is very interesting. So these can live up to 200 years. I guess the oldest one that's been found was 200 years old. But there's a whole ecosystem involved with the saguaro cactus, and their Latin name is carnegea giganteum, and they're named after Andrew Carnegie, the famous businessman of the 1800s who sold steel. He spearheaded the steel industry during the Industrial Revolution and was known as one of the richest men at that time period. And the Carnegie Hall is also named after Andrew Carnegie. So here we have a fantastic view of a bird nest, so probably hollowed out by a gilded woodpecker, or yeah, those are the ones that I heard get the holes going. Deeper holes can be homes for the great horned owl, and also hawks can build nests in, in Ys like that, or up there at the top. Currently there doesn't appear to be any accipiter or hawk or eagle or other bird of prey nesting in any of those Ys. So, but just look at how beautiful these are. And I'm going to get a sunshine view as well. Here we can see the other side of the 3 saguaro cacti next to a mesquite tree. And we'll go ahead and look at some other specimens today. Okay, so there we have our triad of saguaro cacti in the distance. And if we pan the landscape, we'll see some other saguaro cacti in the distance. Here's a nice little group there in the distance. And we're approaching some ahead. Saguaro. So this one looks to be around 20 feet tall, perhaps. Now they can get up to around 78 feet, but on average 40 feet tall. And there she is in all her glory. So she does not have any arms. So we have 2 saguaro next to each other, and they both have arms. And they look to be about 25 feet, I'd say. And being that they have a number of arms, I'm guessing they're around 100 years old each. Looks like they seeded at the same time. Awesome. And here we have saguaro twins. So they share the same base right there. Here we have a fascinating saguaro cactus specimen, and right down below is a dead one. You can see the ribs. So let's get a closer look. Alright, so here we are, close up here of the saguaro cactus ribs. So they're pretty hard. So the Native American Indians actually used the ribs to build roofs, and I believe also fencing. I saw a picture of what looked to be fencing. So, and the Native Americans also used the fruit, the spines for needles, for sewing needles. So look at that, it's a pretty amazing view there of the ribs. Okay, so this is a fantastic find. This would be the hollowed out portion of the cactus, and it's called the boot, or called a boot, and it would have been hollowed out by a woodpecker, probably the gilded woodpecker. Isn't that neat? So here we have the internal parts, or what is left of it. It's kind of reminds me of a sponge. I mean, it doesn't feel like a sponge, it's like a dried up sponge. And this would be the internal components that would absorb water. So they can absorb hundreds of gallons of water. And actually, on record, they have been known to expand. The ribs allow them to expand during the wet season, and they can expand around 16 inches. So noticeable growth during the wet season. So let's talk about the saguaro cactus and when it flowers. So in the springtime, they will flower, and I'm going to point to the top of this saguaro here. So flower buds will grow, and they will burst open at overnight. They're open only for one day, 24 hours. So the birds, or rather the bats and the other insects such as bumblebees, honeybees will come and collect the nectar, and it's a feast for as long as those flowers are open. So 24 hours they get the animals have to get to the delicious nectar. So the long-nosed bat, which just has a very long snout, can actually reach into these flowers to get that nectar, and then it cross-pollinates as it goes from cactus flower to cactus flower. Pretty awesome. So the pollen from its snout gets transferred and pollinates other saguaro cacti. So let's talk about the saguaro cactus and its fruit. So after it flowers and after pollination, the flower will close. Remember, it's only open for one day for pollination, and then it closes, and the flower will become a fruit over a period of time. I'm not sure exactly how long. I should look that up, but easy enough to Google that one, right? So the Native Americans used to eat, well, they still eat the fruit raw. They also make it into a juice, also a wine, I heard. And of course, the birds will eat the fruits, and as they're flying overhead of you or I, they may dispel their scat on your head or your shoulder or your vehicle, and you may have saguaro seeds on you or on your vehicle. True story. Okay, but most of the time the seeds land on the ground and will therefore seed. The seeds will turn into seedlings, seedling cactuses, cacti. Here we have a close-up of a saguaro cactus. So I'm not even going to touch those spines or point them out. You can see them quite clearly here. So in this specimen, looks to be around 20 feet tall. It does have a wonderful arm there, rather plump. And real close-up view. Okay, so here you can see the ribs. So this would be a rib, another rib. And remember, during the rainy season, it will absorb tons and tons of water and expand. I've never seen these during the wet season or in the spring. I usually leave the desert before it gets that warm. But it must be pretty awesome to watch them swell. I'm NatureGlo with NatureGlo's eScience. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. Please go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and look for the resources in the bottom below. I'll give you links to a web resource page about cacti, including the saguaro cactus.